What's up, guys? My name is Justin. I'm here with Josh over here. He wanted to do a little podcast interview with some cars that I have. I'm a car guy. I'm a big time, if you haven't noticed, Cadillac fan and other GM cars. We're actually sitting in my all-time favorite Cadillac. It's a 1987 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. It's the exact same car that my dad had brand new back in '87 that he gave to me when I was 16. Unfortunately, that car got stolen back when I was 16 years old. So ever since then, I've been looking for the identical twin of that car. I just happened to come across it a few years back, and I snatched it up right away. It looks exactly like this: black exterior with crimson red interior, leather. And this one is all original with over 42,000 miles. Go for a little spin, and we'll talk about some car stuff that Josh wants to know.
Was this the first car that you wanted?
Yeah, so my dad actually brought this exact same car, brand new, back in the 80s. As his first brand new car. So ever since then, it has like a sentimental meaning to it. To me, because he gave me his first car, and that became my first car. So when I turned 16, he handed over the keys, and then I was taking really good care of it, so much that somebody else wanted it. One morning I woke up on a Sunday morning and found that somebody had stolen the car, and they found it a week later in Brooklyn. And ever since then, since I was 16 years old, I've been trying to find this identical car, and I only came across it 2 times because it's super rare. It has the red interior, which is not so common with the black exterior. So a few years ago, like I said, I was able to snatch it up, and I'm going to keep this for the rest of my life probably.
So was this the reason that you got into cars, or?
Yeah, I was always into cars. I have an uncle that's a mechanic, and he basically, I always liked cars, just looking at cars. One of my all-time favorite cars was the Lamborghini Diablo SV, and that was, this awesome car that I really fell in love with in the late '90s. And Cadillac has always been my top, regular car that I always, sought after.
So at Cadillac, you always enjoyed American brands?
Yeah, I love all cars. There's people that say, "Oh, I don't like this car or that car." If you're a real car guy, you'll like all cars. If it's something that's got a motor in it, if it goes fast, if it cruises nice, whatever it is. If you're a real car guy or motorhead, you'll learn to appreciate everything. Obviously everyone has their preference on. With the American cars, you got GM, you got Ford, you got Chrysler. My preference is going to be GM cars. Cadillac would be my top choice. In luxury cars, Chevy would be my top choice. In performance cars, stuff like that.
It's always like all your brands. Your first go-to is always going to be American cars, or
it will be. Sorry, I was waving to my neighbor. It would be partial to American cars.
Well, it's an important question.
Yeah.
I know you have a Tesla and all.
Yeah.
But you a fan of gas or electric?
You know, that's a tough one. It depends what you're looking for. You know, like which one is more fun? Which one do I enjoy more? And I'm gonna give an answer that people are not gonna be too happy about, but I like them equally on different levels. Like for a daily driver, and the fun factor of having an electric car is like amazing, you know.
So, what do you think about Tesla, like the company in general?
All right, I really think Tesla is a fantastic company. You know, they really paved the way for, you know, modernizing transportation. You know, and on top of that, it's, you know, everyone has their gripe or opinion on like Tesla and electric cars, but until you've actually, most of these people who complain about them have never even driven one or never owned one. But they're gonna have like opinions on it. To me, there was a time I had an E55 AMG, and that thing was crazy. You know, I had the supercharger pulley, all the pulley work, all the ECU tune, transmission computer tune. That thing was putting out close. I think it was around the mid sixes to the wheels, 600, 650 horsepower to the wheels. And if you know that car, it's more than capable of even doing more. But my buddy, he actually had a Tesla Model S 60, one of the first Teslas you could get. And that car, if you know what the different type of Model S's they have now, back then that car actually took off the line a lot quicker than my E55 that had all this horsepower. But then eventually, my car would take over because of the horsepower. There's a difference in power on the top end. But Tesla, hands down, is one of the greatest cars that's ever been created in history, in my opinion. They're able to give you instant torque. It is the quickest car in production right now, as far as I know. It's fully electric. It's totally practical. It's usable. You got to charge the car same way you got to fill up gas. You're gonna have to stop and recharge. There's a lot of pros and cons to owning this car. The fun factor actually is the instant torque. The instant torque in that car is absolutely mind-boggling. Like, there's very few cars that have shocked me as much as Tesla has. My Tesla has the ludicrous mode, where you hit the brake, hit the accelerator, and it just goes into like launch mode and it just takes off. And everyone I'd given a ride to it, they didn't complain about Tesla at that moment. They thought it was the most fascinating thing, craziest thing they ever did. So Tesla's a great car. I'm not gonna complain. I'm not even gonna lie about it. Do I prefer at times to drive an American V8? Absolutely. There's no question about it. I love muscle cars. I love turbocharged cars. I love supercharged cars. Speed is speed. To me, it's like you gotta appreciate it in any different facet that you get it. So that's my honest opinion on it. I love Tesla in a different way than I love American V8s or twin turbo V6s or turbo 4 cylinders.
What do you think about the people that complain about their luxury?
The luxury within a Tesla?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You're not going to get reclining rear seats and like picnic tables like you would in a S580 or something like that. It's somewhat minimalistic, where they give you what you need, and it's very practical the way those cars are built, right? Like they have features that are totally convenient. Like I could control everything with my phone. Like if I want to get in the car anywhere in the world, or if I need somebody to get into my car, I could just do it right through the phone. I could defrost my car in a blizzard from my phone anywhere in the world. You know, I could schedule at what time I want the car to be warmed up. You know, what time I want to charge my car at night. You know, it's an ultra practical car, and for everyday use, I think it's a great vehicle. For daily driving, you can't beat it. You know, and it's fun at the same time. Very fun to drive that car.
Another complaint that people usually have is about the charging. What do you think about, like, when you're going on long trips, you have to leave it on for charge?
Yeah, so the way Tesla operates is their infrastructure, they have superchargers at a lot of locations. You know, like any long trip you want to do across the country, you could take it in a Tesla. The number one problem is the speed at which you get like enough charge to continue the road trip. So you pulling into a gas station on a road trip and just filling up in a few minutes, like in, you know, less than 5 minutes, and then off you go another 300 to 400 miles of highway, you know, driving. A Tesla, you're gonna have to probably spend, you know, maybe like 30 minutes, maybe 40 to an hour, depending how much charge you need if you're going from like a very low state of charge to a full charge. So that is a downside to having an electric vehicle. Tesla makes it better than anybody else because their supercharging system is much quicker and much more advanced than anybody else's.
So then what do you think about the new ones coming out now? Like, you know, Hyundai has their Ioniq. There's the other companies like Volvo's Polestar.
Yeah, every car manufacturer now is doing EVs. So, you know, it's good because, like I said, Tesla paved the way and it forced a lot of these other companies to like now compete. So at this point, you should see a change in the market where EVs should now be even more and more affordable, and now they have to come up with a more generalized like infrastructure where any car could get charged. The same way there's a gas station right across each other anywhere you drive, you eventually should see like charging stations all over the place, which just makes things much easier as far as like charging goes, you know.
If for the people that are looking at like gas efficient cars or cars that won't cost them a lot of money in the long run, what would you say to them? Like, should they go hybrid, electric, or just go for like a small car like a Corolla or something?
So I always, you know, with the hybrid is great, but in my opinion and my understanding, the way it is, like when you pay for a hybrid vehicle, you're paying a premium from the start. So like when you go to Toyota and you know, if you decide to buy like a hybrid, Camry, if you decide to buy a Camry and you go for the regular Camry versus a hybrid, you're gonna pay a premium price for the hybrid. So there has to be a time frame where that premium that you paid has to be recouped in savings. So it could be several years before you recoup that money. So if you pay like $5,000 or whatever the difference is, you have to factor that in. How much savings are you going to have for the year to recoup that $5,000 where you could have just bought a regular Camry, you know, and you would have saved it from the start, you know?
Yeah. To end with the topic of discussion about electric cars, do you think you're going to keep your Model S, or would you ever exchange it for anything else?
I would definitely like to keep it, or if anything, upgrade to like a newer one, or maybe one of the other like Tesla models. You know, you just get accustomed to the brand, you know, like the features and stuff. And it would probably be hard to transition into a different type of EV.
Yeah. So moving on from that, let's talk about this car.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the safety? Like, I know it's fun and all, but
yeah,
does it ever scare you driving? It's like without any.
You could tell there's, you know, I could tell the difference between like this car is from the 80s, right? So it drives different. You know, it's not like a high handling performance car. I think it's a 80s Cadillac, so it's like driving on a cloud. So if you gotta quickly maneuver, you know, probably not the best feeling in the world. You know, it's gonna float around. You know, not like a modern car where, you know, it has like tighter suspension and stuff like that, where you can maneuver quickly in a tough situation. So you end up just cruising around in this car. It's not meant for like crazy driving or anything like that.
So what would happen if you hit a car with this? rather than hitting it with like a newer car? Like, what kind of damage would there be?
I mean, this car is all metal. You know,
Yeah, so-
you know, everything on this car is metal. Like, even to the point where the interior trim is solid metals. A lot of this stuff. So I would assume there would be damage on a lot of damage on the other car, but
Yeah,
at the
this
same
one
time,
won't be.
yeah, this should absorb a lot of impact. But you got to still remember, it's not a tank. You know, it will sustain some damage for sure. Safety wise, there's no airbags. You know, they didn't have airbags in the 80s, but they did in this car, as far as I know. And you know, just the different crumble zones and stuff that they have regulations wise on newer cars versus old cars. It could go either way. That's what I would say.
Alright. So then, is there anything that you like about the? So it's smooth to drive, right? This one.
Oh yeah, it's like literally sitting on your living room couch and just cruising along. And it's nice because people see it and it like they look, they give you a thumbs up, they'll spark a conversation like, oh man, that's awesome. You know, I used to have that car, or you know, they might have said, oh, my dad used to have one just like it. You know, so it's cool because it sparks up conversations with people who are car guys or you know, car people, whatever, and it's just nostalgic for them.
So, do you meet a lot of people because of your
Oh yeah,
car?
it's awesome. It's like so every Friday evening, especially during the summer, there's car shows. There's a car show out in Belmore at the Long Island Railroad train station, and you see people from all walks of life with all different type of cars, from like military Hummers to like Lamborghinis to like classics and custom built, you know, cars from all over Long Island, you know, and New York City and even Staten Island. All these people show up to this car show. So I take this every Friday with the family, and just it's like a Friday thing to do.
So, is there anybody there that takes those like big Wranglers?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they got those off-road trucks, you know, the Wranglers. They got off-road pickups. They got these beach, you know, these monster trucks type of vehicles there. You know, it's really cool to see. You'll see everything there. It's like a very diverse, you know, crowd as far as people go, and also as far as like cars.
What do you think about the people that do that to their Wranglers, like put all those off-road stuff while they're in Long Island?
I honestly, I always say this: if you're into customizing your car, that's what it is. It's customizing the way you like it. You know, I like doing stuff that I enjoy doing and using. So if I was to go off-roading, I would do it, but I don't go off-roading. You know, I used to go to drive on the beach at Jones Beach, but I just use my regular pickup truck. You know, but if you're somebody that does go off-roading, then do that. It's not. I'm not a big fan, you know, for building an off-road truck and then driving on the street with it.
Yeah, so at the car show, is there people that with like really old cars, like, you know, the ones that people call racers, the JDM cars that are not so JDM, like they're just old Honda
like
Civics?
Give me like the classic Honda Civics,
Not classic,
or just like a 2000 Honda Civic SI or something.
Yeah.
There's people that show up with that. You know, some of them would be done up. You know, I never was a big fan of Honda, but I respect it because some of those cars are not a joke. You know, these guys are putting like close to 1,000 horsepower, some of them 1,000 horsepower out of a 4-cylinder Honda engine, and they're able to destroy like these big, huge, powerful like cars and stuff. So you know, I respect it. I learned to respect it. You know, you got to learn to like appreciate and respect everything. You know, that's the way I've become. You know, until you like see it and experience it, or you understand like where somebody came from to build that, or their purpose behind it, then you'll like appreciate what they do. You know?
I'm just wondering, like, what do you think people think, like, when they buy these like rims and stuff that are worth more than the Civics themselves? Like, they like stance them and everything.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the stance thing. You know, I guess that's basically just like a look. You know, like I said, everyone has their preference. I don't see a purpose behind it, like other than something that you think it looks good. I wouldn't do it to my car. I want to drive it, you know, whether it's a performance car. If it's a performance car, I'm going to make sure it's faster than what I got it at. If it's a show car, I'm going to make sure it looks better than what I initially got it as. You know? But everyone has their personal preference as far as like what's show, what's go, you know.
Have you ever wanted to change the rims on any of yours?
Oh yeah, I've changed rims on a lot of my cars. You know, depending on what it is. I used to have a CL600 Brabus edition. It's a Mercedes V12. It was their big coupe that they used to make back in the 2000s.
All right, so after a quick break, we're done talking about the rims, and now we're back home. We're gonna go over the project cars that he's talking about before. You want to say what this car is?
This one is a 1993 Fleetwood Brougham. I got it because it was actually the same color combination as my 88. Black on the exterior, red on the interior. It's only got 80,000 miles. I was sitting on a farm for about 15 years. Didn't run. It had like mold and rodents and stuff in it, but it was still in decent condition. It needs a deep clean. The engine wouldn't run, so did some work on it. Got this thing purring like a kitty, but the alternator failed, so I'm waiting on the alternator to come in. And plan is once the weather gets nice, I'm going to detail it, get everything pulled out, the seats, the carpet, disinfect it, you know, put an ozone machine in it, just get it on the road, get it roadworthy. So that's one of my latest projects. Needs a paint job in certain areas. Other than that, the paint is solid on the sides.
It's gonna be like a car that you're gonna keep, or?
I don't know yet. Depends how it goes. I might keep it. It depends if I like it that much, you know.
What do you say you got it for a good deal for a project car?
I got it for $1,200 from near the northern Pennsylvania, and I actually put on a U-Haul trailer and towed it back here myself. Unloaded it and just started going to work. I ended up needing a fuel pump and a distributor.
Think it was worth it?
I ended up doing a lot of other things like a full tune-up, you know, things like that. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Once I got the engine running, it was running like a top. You know, it was super quiet, super smooth, no noise, nothing like that. So just needs a big cleaning, some electronic equipment like a body control module, which controls like the locks and stuff like that. So
you think
change
it's
the computer on the engine also?
You think it's worth the drive? Like going that far to get a car like this?
It was fun because to get something that was sitting for 15 years and not running, to run and find out that it runs perfect, you know, that was definitely worth it to me.
All right. Do you want to see the go to the next car?
Yeah, let's go take a look at the other project.
This is the car that we were just in. Okay, so now we're back. Here's the car. Which car is this?
This is my 1990 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. This was actually my first project car before the other one. I bought this in 2016, right before my son was born. I bought this as like a project so me and him could work on it. It was all original. It needed like, I don't know if you noticed this, but these cars are notorious for having cracked body fillers over here, so it was all cracked and deteriorated. I replaced this, replaced the rear bumper. The original bumper was like rotted out. It's still obviously a used bumper, but it's in much better condition. It was sitting all original for a few years now, but...
Oh, you want to explain the mechanism?
Oh yeah, sure. So you can see all the stuff, all the panels that I took out. Right now it's just being stored in here. So this car back then had power pull down trunk, so basically like soft close. I say you could fit a lot of bodies inside here if you wanted to. So
What color is this one? This one.
This is called Sapphire Blue Metallic.
What about the interior?
Yeah, that's it. The interior, I forgot the exact name for it, but it's like a navy blue dark navy blue color. You can see I pulled the carpet out. All the seats are out. I did that to basically change the sound system in here. So it's got to upgrade. The original sound system, the speakers were all rotted out and no good. So I put a new touchscreen, all new speakers.
Does this touchscreen have like Apple CarPlay and stuff,
Yeah, it
like the
has
new
Apple
car?
CarPlay. This one I brought it to modify it, customize it. We're gonna go all out on this one. So the system, we're gonna redo like the headliner and suede, new 20-inch wire wheels. I was always into like lowriders and that whole thing. So the wire wheels are sitting in the garage waiting to be put on. It needs a paint job. I'm gonna put air ride suspension so car goes up and down. Car shows.
What do you think? What do you think about?
New emblems ready to be put on.
What do you think about these rims compared to the other caddies you have?
This is just factory hubcaps. These are actually hubcaps, so you could take them off. The other car actually has factory wire wheels that are true spoke wire wheels. So.
Okay. So now we're at the engine bay. Could you say what kind of engine is it?
Yeah, so this has, there's two engine options for this car in that model year. There was a 5.0 and a 5.7. This one has the 5.0, which is a small engine, but it took care of what it needed to do, and I just upgraded some engine stuff like the intake manifold, the carburetor, just ignition, the coil, distributor, all those things. Just basic stuff that you can do. There wasn't much options for this particular engine. It's an old 307 motor, so like I said, 5 liter. It gets the car moving. It's nothing too crazy, but so it took care of the engine. I always say whenever you start a project, you want to take care of the heart of the car first. You want the engine and drivetrain to work properly before you start anything else, right? That's like the people who put, like you were saying, you don't want to put big expensive wheels on a car that looks like crap everywhere. So.
What do you do to the exhaust in this?
It just has split exhaust. It's just a single. It's just split at the end. That's basically what it is. There wasn't much options for like headers or any of that stuff.
Do you like how it is, or do you want to change it now?
I want to redo the exhaust. At that time, I just did it quickly because I wanted dual exhaust. It was a split, but I want to do true dual. Worst case, if anything ever happens, I'm going to do an LS swap on this car. There's no questions. I already have a motor sitting ready to go in a project car, and it might be this one if I decide to go all out on it.
You have a LS?
Yeah, it's a 5.3 for Silverado, 2002 Silverado.
So is that
LS base? Yeah, it's a 5.3 motor.
Is that an LQ9 or?
I think it's LQ9 or LM7. I'm not sure. Yeah, take that for now. I don't.
Do you like how this one runs right now, as it is? Or?
Yeah, I mean it's alright. It could. There's always room for improvement. That's what I always say. You could always have more fun, more power, more fun. So, worst case scenario, it's running now with no major issues, nothing like that. If I ever get to a point where I want more, I'm taking this out, cleaning out the engine bay, maybe smooth it out, and then drop it, make it a real show car and put like the 5.3 in here. So that's it, right?
Yeah. What about the nice Fleetwood that you have? Do you like, out of all the Fleetwoods that you have, if you like restore this completely, the other one too, which one would you prefer out of the three?
I'll always take the one with the sentimentals, the 88, the black with the red interior, the one that we were driving in. Only because, it's a sentimental thing. So, but honestly, I wouldn't get rid of this either, because I bought this as a project car to work with my son right before he was born. So those two, this and that black one, I'm gonna probably keep. I'll definitely keep forever.
Do you think you were happier with the old one or the one that you have right now?
What do you mean? Which?
The one that you have when you were a teenager.
Oh, it would be nice to get that one in my hands, but it's never gonna happen. So I'll pretend like this is the exact same. It's the same car.
Okay, so should we move on to the?
Yeah. Let me go.
All right, so now we're with the final project car.
Yeah, this is the latest
Yeah.
project car. This is a 1995 Chevy Impala SS. It's, you know, one of the last big bodies that GM made in the 90s. A lot of people remember it as like the Caprice. This is a performance version of the Caprice, you know, the police cars. It has an LT1 Corvette engine in it. Show you.
So this is the fastest one?
I mean, it's, you know, they did share the same engine.
I mean, the fastest out of the ones that you have right now.
Yeah, I mean, for now, yeah. Minus the Tesla.
Yeah.
This is the fastest project. So this one's
That's a
got
big
the-
intake.
Yeah, so this got the K&N intake. Basically, new. It got BBK headers. This is a 5.7 liter, same engine they used in the Corvette. The Cadillac Fleetwood Groms from that era. It's got a new computer in it. You know, just basic bolt-ons, nothing crazy right now. And you know, I got it running. It was having some issues. I bought it from a guy who couldn't keep it running. It was misfiring and would stall out on him. So I'm familiar with the engine, and I found like some vacuum hoses that cracked and leaking to cause the engine to shut off while, you know, it comes to a stop. So replace some of those things. It's running a lot better. You know, there's still some things that I want to touch up on, and hopefully get this thing into a real beast mode car from the 90s.
Do you think you like the? Do you think this is the most fun out of the cars that you had? Or-
Out of the project cars, yeah. I mean, I've had more fun cars, but as of right now, this is fun to drive. You know, you get to hear it, you get to beat on it a little bit, so it goes a lot faster than the Cadillacs, that's for sure.
Have any like muscle cars like this, or?
Yeah, I had a Camaro Z28 SS from the 90s. It was also, it was basically the same engine, but it had way more power and more work done to it.
So then, out of the other muscle cars that you've had, do you think which one do you prefer? Like, which one do you think was the best?
Out of all the muscle cars, I think my Camaro was the most fun. It was a six-speed car with basically every bolt-on you could think about. It had basically an exhaust cutout, so it's literally just like no exhaust, you know, just dumping right from the engine, right underneath the driver's seat. You feel and hear it. And the fact it was a six-speed was a lot of fun. You know?
So do you think you'd prefer that over this one, or?
They're all different, you know. I like this because it's a big body car. It's just the presence of a big car like this that makes a rumble like that. It's a different feeling. The Camaro was a sports car. It was a performance car. It had T-tops. It was a fun car. So every car is different. You know? I like each car for its uniqueness. So,
You like the Targas, or?
yeah, I love that. A lot of people don't like it because they say, oh, it flex when the car flexes or leaks and stuff. I mean, that's part of any car can have issues. Some roofs could leak. T-tops and target tops they're awesome. I love that stuff. They don't make them anymore, so it's just that much more cooler to have a car that had it.
So how about we take a ride in this one?
Sure, let's go.
Go. So this is how it's gonna start up.
Get that bag, get through.
So now we're in the Impala. I don't know if you can hear the sound on the outside, but this thing's really loud. You enjoy the exhaust on this?
Oh, I love it. See, like you said, like having a Tesla, it has its fun driving. It's fun driving a Tesla for what it is, but when you get behind a car like this and you hear the rumble and feel the rumble, and you're hearing it go through gears, it's nothing. You can't compare anything to that. It's just a different feeling.
Does it ever feel weird like seeing like a quiet car like that when you have all these cars with exhaust like this?
Yeah, I mean it's different, like I mean a Tesla will still smoke this car in a heartbeat, but you still get to feel and enjoy a muscle car and just going through gears and stuff. It's nice. It just brings things back a little bit to me, back to the norm, back to the old school way.
So with this Impala, what kind of options do they have for the gearing system?
This car was factory automatic, but a lot of people did the 6-speed conversion on it. Basically, they would take the 6-speed T56 transmission out of a Camaro or one of the cars from that generation and swap it into this car, because there was a conversion kit made for it, and you would have this car manual, which is I would love to do that. So if I ever get an opportunity, or if the transmission on this car blows, I would highly consider doing a 6-speed swap on this car.
I noticed the quick release on the. Is that a quick release?
It's not a quick release. No, it's just a aftermarket steering wheel. It's a Grant steering wheel.
Do you like this, or do you?
I came like it. I'm not. I don't know how I feel about it. It's different. The factory steering wheel was ugly to begin with, but I don't know how much I like this. I'm still getting used to it. It's nice to have a smaller steering wheel as opposed to like a large diameter steering wheel.
These older American, they really like to have the branding like in a lot of places, didn't they?
What was that?
In the older American cars, they had like Impala SS program.
Oh yeah, they needed to. Yeah, they put their they stamped everything everywhere. Like the brand or the model. That was like a thing back then. The more badges, the better.
So yeah, what I was talking about before is the racers cars, like like this
Evo?
one right here.
Evo? I can't even tell.
I think it's a regular Lancer. What do you think of cars like that? This one specifically. I mean, not to clown on this guy, but
that sounds like an Evo. I hear the turbo.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you gotta remember, this is that car's a lot newer than this, so everything runs different,
That's a little jumpy.
Yeah, this has that torque, the American V8 torque, but
I just got a little. Yeah.
And the best thing about these cars is like the burnouts. It's rear wheel drive. No crazy technology, none of that nonsense. I don't want to say nonsense. No, it's not overdone. It's just so you could do a burnout or something.
How have you ever tried these out in the winter, like any of your project cars?
Yeah, I grew up with these cars. I had the Cadillac. Basically, this is the Chevy version of that same Cadillac, the farm car that I bought. It's the Chevy version. So it would have shared the same engine if it was 1 year newer than the other one. So I've actually driven cars like this throughout the winter in the snow. It's not easy, but if you're used to it, you learn to drive a rear wheel drive car in the snow, and you should be able to make it. As long as it's not too deep.
So do you have any general tips for anybody that's driving like rear wheel drive, bring a Beamer or something?
If you have low profile tires or performance or summer tires, it's not going to work out too well. You're going to have to put all season or snow tires to make it work. If you try to do it with snow performance or regular tires on it, it's not going to work out too well. Because you got to be able to grip. If you're not gripping anything, you're not moving.
So how about we see a little pull in this? Yeah. Okay. Be back when we get a place.
It's actually louder than we're going, it's like that's rear wheel drive on slippery surface. You go fishtailing.
So you have to have quick responses to that?
Yeah, you can see it'll just spin out. So you gotta know how to control rear wheel drive, because it can get away from you, and you gotta be quick to react to it, or counter steer.
Do any of the old Cadillac models have all-wheel drive?
No.
When did they? Do you know when
Cadillac
they started?
only brought that in, I believe, in the late 2000s. I think 2010 or something like that. It was fairly new, I know not cars having all-wheel drive. It originated from like Subaru and Audi. They were
Audi Quattro.
Yeah, the Quattro, and then Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, and as far as I know, and then I think Mercedes had 4MATIC, earlier in the game, in the late 90s, I believe. So not too many cars had four-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive, I should say. Other than those German manufacturers and Subaru, of course.
Have you ever driven any of those?
Yeah, I've driven.
Well, what would you say about them? You like them, or?
Yeah, Subaru's a fun car. Subaru STI, my friend had it, and it was definitely a fun car to drive.
I mean, versus American though, is that?
Yeah, it's different.
Really?
It's a different feeling. Like you get to hear the rumble of a V8. It's cool too.
What it was like i4s or V6?
What do you mean, the Subaru?
Yeah, the Subaru.
i4 turbo. Actually, I'm sorry, not i4. It was a Boxer turbo.
I'm a Boxer.
So the Subaru runs Boxer engines. So.
Yeah, they have that in the BRZ, don't they?
I'm not too familiar. Yeah, I believe the BRZ uses a Boxer. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they do. Yeah, I don't know for sure. So don't unless let's give it a quick pull over here.
Okay, so we're about to do a little pull right here, and so you heard, kind of scared. Okay, yes. All right, you guys will hear the actual sound of it. These old cars had a lot of power, huh?
Was that? Yeah, they had that V8 muscle.
Oh yeah. So, all right. Yeah, now I'm getting a little bit scared, but. Okay, so this is. Yeah, it's a little scary, but no. Well, this is some of his project cars. I guess, this one I think was a little more exciting than the other ones that we rode in.
Yeah, this is the fun. This car is for fun. The other one is, others are for cruising.
So we went on a quick ride. We had a pull in the Impala. It's kind of crazy. Still have a little bit of adrenaline rushing, but this is another Tesla. But we're only doing gas cars for this video. So, do you still get the same thrill every time you ride that car?
Oh yeah, it's always fun. It's a different feeling every single time. So, it's always fun to hear the sound and go through the gears, like I said. So.
You ever scared of the fishtailing? No.
No, I've always driven rear wheel drive, so it's like you learn how to control it,
All right. Well, we went over all the cars now, so this is a conclusion of the interview. Thank you for your time.
No problem. It was my pleasure. Josh deserves an A. Make sure he gets an A on this report, all right?